Welcome to part 2 of the Unit 6 test review. We'll be starting with number 12. Select each quotient that is correct, mark all that apply. This is a very self-explanatory question. You simply need to do the division, and if the answer is correct, bubble it in. You're going to want to remember when you're solving these problems to make sure that you're writing them the correct way. When you see a problem written down like this, it's 300 divided by 100. When you say the word 300, and divided by is where I draw the box. Divided by 100. This particular problem might look quite difficult because you have triple digits on the outside. But there's a couple of tricks you could use here. Well, the first one would be, you probably already know how many times 100 goes into 300. But a trick you could use here is that you could delete the same amount of zeros on the outside as in the inside. So if you have 2 zeros in the divisor, you can cross them out as long as you have 2 zeros in the dividend. So as long as it's the same number of zeros you're crossing out, this problem is the same thing as 1 into 3. We're doing number 14 as well. Solve 2,412 divided by 3. Explain how you know your answer is reasonable. The first thing you're going to want to do is solve. You're going to want to make sure that you write this problem correctly and refer to the one that we just got done doing as to how to do that. When you're finished solving, you can explain how you know your answer is reasonable. If you're dividing, you would hope that your answer would be less than what you started with. And if your answer is less than what you started with, then it should be reasonable. Number 15. Nina is putting equal amounts of oatmeal into 4 containers. She has 37 6/10 of an ounce of oatmeal. How many ounces of oatmeal should she put in each container? First thing you'd want to figure out is whether or not you're going to be multiplying or dividing here. And it says putting equal amounts of oatmeal. If you're going to put equal amounts of something in, then you should already know that you're going to be dividing. And so this will be as simple as rewriting this problem as a division problem, as 37 6/10 divided by 4. There's no decimal in the divisor, so you don't need to move the decimal. So now you can bring this decimal straight up since it's not going to be moved, and then go ahead and solve. Number 16 is an opportunity for some extra points, and all you need to do is move the decimal. This is very similar to the first problem that we did. We are dividing by powers of 10. Therefore, we're moving decimals. We need to make sure we're moving them in the right direction. And the right direction when dividing is actually left. When multiplying, you would move it to the right. But when dividing, you want the answer to be smaller. So you're going to want to move the decimal left. And of course, the exponent is telling you how many times to move it left. For example, 4 6/10 divided by 10 to the second power means you're going to take your decimal and move it 2 times to the left. Therefore, you'd have to add a 0 and place your decimal in front. So your answer would be decimal 046 or 46 thousandths. Number 17 is next. Lunch for the band cost $137.20. The band has 56 members. How much does each member's lunch cost? Here you're going to need to set up an equation and solve. You'll have to decide between multiplication and division. You could try both and see which answer is reasonable. You would expect that the amount of money each lunch costs would be less than $137.20, since that's the total, and you're splitting it up amongst 56 members. The last question we're going to be doing is number 19. This is everybody's favorite question. Here you could use process of elimination to help you. You're simply solving each of these long division problems, some double-digit problems, and making sure that you put the answer to the letter of the question in the correct answer choice. So if A is 40 remainder 3, and here we are using remainders, So if it is 40 remainder 3, you would put the letter A here. Obviously, every question has an answer, and you can see that a lot of these answers are similar. These are both 40 with different remainders, both 24 with different remainders, and both 31 with different remainders. So it's not going to be easy enough to do in your head. You will have to make sure you're doing all the arithmetic correctly and getting the right remainders. If you don't see your answer with the right remainder, you should go back over your work again and see where your mistake was.